You're about to learn 10 interesting and guaranteed options for raising money for any business, and you can start exploring these options starting today. Raising capital is probably the biggest obstacle many entrepreneurs face in starting or growing a business. Studies have found that many startups and young businesses fail because they run out of money. As a result, fundraising, the ability to raise money for a business or project, is a very important survival skill for entrepreneurs. Without fundraising skills, even the most brilliant and innovative ideas will die a sudden death. In my experience working with entrepreneurs over the last decade, I have learned some of the best fundraising strategies that actually work and are guaranteed to help you raise money to start or grow a business. In this video, I'm going to share 10 of these guaranteed strategies with you and that can of course spark your mind with creative fundraising ideas. Let's get started. The very first strategy is to start with what you have. At the beginning of your journey, of your business journey, it's very likely nobody will believe in your business ideas as much as you do. That's why you will have to put your money where your mouth is and start with what you have. For Sarah Blakely, the founder of the famous women's underwear brand Spanx, that's exactly what she had to do. She bootstrapped Spanx into a billion-dollar company and became the world's youngest self-made billionaire in 2012. After several attempts to raise money for her unique business idea of shapewear and body slimming pants for women, most people she approached either thought her business idea was stupid or the products would never sell. Without any possibility of outside help, Sarah reached into her savings and used the entire $5,000 in her account to start Spanx in 1998. Today, Spanx, the same business people thought would never work, is currently valued at over $1 billion. And since she launched the business in 1998, Sarah had never raised a single dollar from outside investors until 2021, when she sold a major stake of the company to Blackstone, the private equity investment giant. Sometimes, if your business idea is as brilliant as you say it is, you have to stand for yourself and make personal sacrifices. Investing your own money in your business is often seen by investors and banks as a sign of confidence and a strong show of faith in the potential of your business. After all, if you can't invest some of your own money in your business, why should anybody invest their money? However, there is an important warning here. It can be very risky to invest all your money in starting a new business. Inside our fundraising program for entrepreneurs, you will learn exactly how to raise money for a business by avoiding and managing these critical risks so you don't fall into financial ruin. The second creative fundraising strategy I'd like to talk to you about is to convert your social capital into financial capital. So after you have exhausted your personal finances, it's time to start converting some of your social capital into financial capital for your business. What do I mean by social capital? Social capital is the value of the close relationships you have in your life. It comes from family and relatives, from close friends, from current and former work colleagues, from old classmates, neighbors, and anyone who is socially or emotionally connected to you. Now, because of this connection they have with you, people in your social circles are more likely than total strangers to listen to your ideas, and they will often be your first set of true fans and supporters. Jack Ma is one very good example. The Chinese billionaire Jack Ma leveraged social capital to start Alibaba, the global e-commerce giant. In 1999, Jack Ma invited 18 of his friends into his small apartment in Hangzhou and pitched to them for 2 hours about his business idea and vision for the business. And that day, he raised a total of $60,000 to finally start Alibaba. Now, fast forward several years, when Alibaba became a public company in 2014, it was valued at $21.8 billion on the New York Stock Exchange. and became the biggest US IPO in history, bigger than Google, Facebook, and Twitter combined. But raising money from friends and family can be tricky. You don't want to lose the trust and friendship of people you are really close to. That's why you need to execute this strategy the right way. In our fundraising program, you will learn how to raise money for a business by pitching your business in a way that compels people close to you to want to invest. And also, you will learn how to avoid the expensive mistakes people make when they take money from people in their social circles. The third creative fundraising strategy I'd like to talk about is to find a partner who has the money. Now, some people have the money, but may not have the time, the business ideas, the knowledge, or skills that are required to start or build a good business. These people may have another full-time commitment, like a job, or maybe they may not have the risk appetite or entrepreneurial flair to actively build a business. This creates an opportunity for a win-win partnership, and that's exactly where you come in. So, as the saying goes, 2 or more good heads are better than 1. It's no surprise that most of the successful companies in the world, like Google, Microsoft, Apple, and the rest of them, have at least 2 co-founders. Now, this was the same fundraising strategy that Jason Njoku used to launch his business, Iwuoha TV, which has now become one of the biggest creators and distributors of African movies, series, and TV shows. So Jason met his business partner and co-founder, Sebastian Gotter, at the University of Manchester, where both of them studied. And in 2010, Sebastian, who is German, contributed $150,000 for a 50% stake in the business, while Jason, who is a Nigerian and fully understands the local market, was responsible for executing the business plan. So it was very clear. One person was responsible for execution and Sebastian was responsible for bringing the money. So since then, Iwuoha TV has grown into an industry giant. It has raised more than $40 million from international investors to date. And while partnerships are a powerful strategy for raising money for a business, business partnerships can also be a double-edged sword. When they work, the synergy from a business partnership can be powerful. But when it's not done right, a bad business partnership can lead to conflict that could crash or crumble a good and healthy business. So inside our fundraising program for entrepreneurs, you will learn how to properly structure a business partnership in a way that leads to a favorable win-win outcome for all parties involved. The fourth creative fundraising strategy I'd like to talk about in this video is to raise money from angel investors. Now, in the early days of your business, it will be hard to raise money from formal sources of capital like banks and investment firms. That's because many banks and investors typically don't like to invest in early stage businesses because they are perceived as high risk. That's where angel investors come in. Angel investors are individuals or groups of investors who invest their personal funds in young businesses in the early stage of their journey. Now, angel investors are often successful entrepreneurs. They are well-paid senior employees or high net worth individuals who are drawn to the opportunity of high returns that come with making high-risk investments. One classic example of the impact of angel investors in a business is Facebook. In 2004, when Facebook was still a small business and Mark Zuckerberg was an unknown name, Peter Thiel, an angel investor, led a $500,000 investment in Facebook for a 10.2% equity stake. 7 years later, in 2011, when Facebook became a public company, that angel investment of $500,000 in Facebook was worth $1 billion. That's a 200,000% return on investment. So it's because of opportunities like this that angel investors invest more than $25 billion annually in countries like the USA. In our fundraising program for entrepreneurs, you're going to learn how to raise money for a business by targeting angel investors, and you'll also learn how to pitch or propose your business in a way that positions you as a kind of investment opportunity that angel investors will want to invest in. The fifth creative fundraising strategy I'd like to talk about is to pitch and win a business competition. Now, in 2016, a small South African startup known as Giraffe won $500,000 in investment at a pitching competition in Geneva, Switzerland. This annual competition, known as the Seed Stars World Summit, features entrepreneurs and businesses from across the world who pitch to an audience of investors, international media, and other stakeholders. Now, that year, Giraffe beat 54 other finalists, including 13 startups from Africa, to win the $500,000 grand prize. At the time, Giraffe was still a small company with a simple online and phone-based platform that helps skilled people find jobs in South Africa. So every year, there are dozens of competitions just like Seed Stars that provide strategic opportunities for entrepreneurs and business owners to raise funding to support and grow their businesses. And entering most of these competitions is totally free. You don't have to pay anything. All you need is an innovative or impactful business and the ability to confidently and convincingly pitch your business on stage to investors. Unfortunately, many entrepreneurs don't know how to find these competitions or how to pitch their business in a way that increases their chances of raising funding. That's why we created our fundraising program for entrepreneurs. Some of our students who completed the program have won thousands of dollars in prize money. They've gained international media attention and have been featured on platforms like CNN and the BBC. Inside our program, you will learn how to raise money for a business from competitions and how to package and pitch your business before an audience in a way that positions you as an attractive investment opportunity. The sixth creative fundraising strategy I'd like to talk about is to use your spare assets. An asset is any property or thing of value that you own. Some high-value assets include houses, land, vehicles, jewelry, pension or retirement funds, stocks, a stock portfolio, bonds, and other short or long-term investments. Now, assets can be a good source of capital because you can use them in your business. You could convert them into cash to fund your business, or you could use them as collateral or security for a bank loan. Now, you could convert some space in your house into your office, or you could use your car as a company car or delivery car. That's one way to use your assets. Another way is you could take out a mortgage or sell some of your real estate property to raise money for your business. That's another way to use your assets for business capital. Another way to raise capital from your spare assets is that you could approach the banks for a business loan and pledge your house, your car, or any other valuable asset you own as collateral for the loan. Now, to be honest, taking the decision to convert one or all of your assets into capital for your business can be a very difficult and painful decision. But whatever the case, you will be the person to decide if using or selling your property or your valuable assets is a worthy sacrifice for realizing your business dreams. So some people have sold property or used their retirement funds to fund a new business and it worked out for them. I'm not particularly recommending this, but I'm just telling you that these are some of the options that people are exploring. And that's because there are some people who have regrets because they used or sold their assets to start a business that failed. Businesses fail all the time, and there's no guarantee that because you've sold your assets or your property that your business is going to succeed. Now, but the problem is this often happens when you underestimate or ignore the critical risks that are often involved in the kind of business you want to start. So that's why in our fundraising program for entrepreneurs, you will learn the 7 critical risks you need to consider before you make the difficult decision to use, convert, or sell your precious assets to start or grow a business. The 7th creative fundraising strategy I'd like to talk about, which is quite interesting, is to get advance payments from your customers. Now, raising money from your customers is one of the most creative ways of raising money to start or grow a business. Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, is a great example of how a growing number of entrepreneurs and businesses are turning to their customers as a source of creative financing. So between 2014 and 2018, Elon Musk's car company received up to $985 million in upfront payments and deposits from thousands of customers for the Model 3 Tesla electric car that was not even in production yet. Now, at an average deposit of $1,000 per customer, more than 450,000 customers waited for up to 2 years before their Tesla cars were eventually delivered. Amazon is another example of a company that is famous for using upfront payments to raise money to support its business. So Amazon has a popular subscription program known as Amazon Prime that generates more than $11 billion in interest-free capital to support its business every single year. That's just mind-blowing, right? So one thing is clear: when you have customers who believe in your product or have an urgent or desperate need for your product or service, it's very likely they will be willing to pay for your product in advance. This upfront payment usually provides you with the capital you need to produce the product or service, to get it delivered to the customer, and to turn a nice profit. However, while raising capital through upfront payments works for some businesses, it can backfire for certain kinds of businesses. In our fundraising program for entrepreneurs, you will learn from a real-life example of one of our students who has effectively used advance payments from customers to raise money for his solar energy solutions company. The 8th fundraising strategy I want to talk about is to target government grants, subsidies, and low-interest loans. Now, many people don't know this, but there are several government schemes, initiatives, and organizations that provide grants, subsidies, and low-interest loans for all kinds of businesses. These funds are typically used by governments to stimulate and encourage entrepreneurship, to stimulate investments, innovation, research, and to support economic growth in a particular industry or geographical area. Now, there are funding schemes for agribusinesses like the $60 million Anchor Borrowers Program in Nigeria, which provides low-interest loans to farmers who cultivate certain crops. There are also several special economic zones across the world that provide incentives like waivers, tax holidays, grants, and subsidies that could ultimately save you capital as you start and grow your company. Entrepreneurs like Alisa Furtado of RateHub in Canada have successfully used this strategy to raise over $1 million in government grants to support her business. Now, sadly, many entrepreneurs lack the knowledge and skills required to target and benefit from business grants, subsidies, and low-interest loans. In our fundraising program for entrepreneurs, you will learn how to identify, target, and apply for government funding opportunities and improve your chances of raising the funds you need to start or grow your business. The ninth fundraising strategy I want to talk about is to try crowdfunding. Now, crowdfunding, also known as crowdfinancing, is a new and revolutionary way of raising startup capital for a business or project. Let me show you how crowdfunding works. So imagine for a moment that you're trying to raise $100,000 for your business. There are two extreme ways you can achieve this funding target. One way is to find a wealthy investor who can provide all the money. One person who can give you the entire $100,000. Another extreme option, is to ask 100 different people, 100 ordinary people, to contribute $1,000 each to fund your business, which gives you a total of $100,000. So the concept of crowdfunding is built on the principle of democratizing the process of raising capital. So rather than rely on the monopoly of a few wealthy investors, banks, or institutions that have deep pockets, crowdfunding allows entrepreneurs to raise the same amount of capital from smaller individual contributions of a large group of ordinary people, which is a crowd. So every year, crowdfunding platforms help artists, inventors, entrepreneurs, and activists to raise over $17 billion in capital for all sorts of products, projects, businesses, and causes. Tomato Juice is an interesting example. It was one of the early Africa-based businesses that successfully raised $55,000 on Kickstarter. By early 2021, the startup, which works with local farmers in Nigeria to grow high-quality tomatoes that are processed into tomato paste, that the company had raised more money and commissioned a $5 million processing facility in the country. The 10th creative fundraising strategy I want to talk about, which is quite common, is to still approach your bank. Now, Anna Fosa used loans to significantly boost her piggery business in South Africa. But before I talk about Anna, it's important to know that every year, banks around the world give out billions of dollars in loans to different kinds of businesses. That's because banks make money by lending money to people and businesses. So in summary, if a bank doesn't give out its money, it can't make more money, period. But this doesn't mean that banks will just lend money willy-nilly to anybody. Most banks are typically conservative and don't want to lose their money. So that's why they only give money to people and businesses that meet their criteria. However, many entrepreneurs, they still can't get loans, no matter how much they try, from the banks. And in my experience, some entrepreneurs just don't understand how banking works and how to convince banks to give you access to loans. So there are several strategies you can use to increase your chances of getting a bank loan. And one of them is to get a credible backer. Get a credible backer first before you approach the banks. Now, here's what I mean. This is the same strategy. It's the exact strategy used by Anna Fosa to raise $1.9 million from Absa Bank in South Africa to expand her piggery business, which is the Dreamland Piggery and Abattoir. Now, to get the business loan from Absa Bank, Anna Fosa leveraged the credible backing she got from a major supply contract with Pick n Pay, which is a major supermarket chain in South Africa. Now, the contract required Anna to supply 100 slaughtered pigs a week, and Anna was able to get the loan to expand her piggery business into a 350 hectare farm property. So in our fundraising program for entrepreneurs, you will learn how to develop loan proposals and applications for bank loans, right? In a way that addresses most of the critical risks that typically hold back the banks from releasing funds to entrepreneurs. So to recap, in this video, I have shared 10 guaranteed strategies for raising money for a business with some real-life examples and success stories. We covered as number one is to start with what you have. And then I talked about converting your social capital into financial capital. And then to find a partner who has the money. And then I talked about raising money from angel investors. I talked about pitching and winning a business competition. I talked about how to use your spare assets to raise capital to support your business. And then I also talked about the creative strategy of getting advance payments from your customers. And then I shed some light on targeting government grants, subsidies, and low interest loans. And then I talked about trying crowdfunding. And then, of course, I said, yes, you should approach your bank. So inside our fundraising program for entrepreneurs, you would have access to more of these strategies. You will learn more about these strategies, and you also learn how to improve your chances of raising money to support your business. Are you looking to raise between $10,000 and $1 million or more for your business, project, or nonprofit? Have you been trying to raise money on your own without much success? We can help you overcome this problem so you can finally raise enough money to start, grow, or turn around your business. Since 2015, members and alumni of our program have used creative strategies to raise over $5 million in grants, equity, and debt funding for different types of businesses and projects. Are you ready to learn and apply the strategies we're going to show you? Get 3 days free access to our exclusive program and join other entrepreneurs who have successfully raised between $10,000 and $1 million for their businesses and projects. Join us at smallstarter.com/777 or check out the link in the description below. See you inside.